谢谢大家来参观。所以我们现在的讲者就是陶宋，然后他的主题就是小学学校专属教育大模型的建设和使用，基于华中师范大学附属小学的实践。所以谢谢大家。
尊敬的各位嘉宾，我们教育界的各位同仁，还有我们同学们，大家上午好。那我是华中师范大学，就是一所大学啊，跟我们这个香港理工一样，华中师范大学附属小学的校长啊。今天非常荣幸的就我校的一个专属教育大模型，我们在3月份发布的专属教育大模型“附校至老”。它怎么去建设，然后怎么应用的，跟大家做一个汇报。应该说，不是介绍一个工具的使用就是说它怎么把这个数据动起来，并且发挥作用说一下我们的探索和思考我分3个部分跟大家跟大家汇报。那么分别是我们从呃我们国家的政策驱动，就是为什么做这个事儿。第二呢，就是我们怎么做的校本实践再就最后简单说一下我们未来的一些期望，3个角度说一下我们智慧教育的过程，也就是说我们怎么把这个未来校园建设成功的。应该说政策层面来说倒没有什么特别的就是国家了就比较重视，包括我们之所以开这样一个国际性论坛。意义也在于此。那么也就是说，我们叫做新基建就是说从传统的基建来看，它主要是硬件，为大家育人提供更好的物理场域。我们有这个馆，有那个工程室等等之类的。那现在要在网上再建一个数字化的学校，而不是一个点儿，是所有应用场景的集合就是很多，就跟我们现实中有教室、有实验室、有这个功能教室、各种功能教室一样有艺术馆一样，我们在网上也有这种育人场地，我们叫做数字化的未来学校的育人场域来建设。那么在这个是键盘又不行那么在在整个来说，就是我们就大家谈的比较多理论方面，我们大学教授就把我们华师人工智能学部很早就在说了，那你这种呃大规模的因材施教怎么才能实现可能？就需要把这种标准化、规模化的以教师为单位，这样一个教学转为针对每个个人的个性化的学习。那么是这个我们现实中很难把一个一个的学生区分开，但是数据实现了这种可能。在这个技术赋能的这种新的基建建成之后，我们新的育人场域就形成了。那么在第二个来说，为我们做这个未来学校建的初心，就是我们现在有很多痛点，应该说3大鸿沟制约了我们教育的高质量发展。那么应该说，首先是这个通用大模型，它解决不了我们的一些问题。当然，我们无论是 DeepSeek 还是我们的 ChatGPT，它是通用大模型。通用大模型呢，我们知道已运用好多年了。它实际上很多答案它不带有校本特色，而且经常错，经常把华东师范大学、把华南师范大学的东西都算成我华中师范大学附属小学的东西等等。它一种整合能力没有针对性，特别是对我的单体的老师或者单个的学生来说，它没有针对性。所以这就是我们要建这样一个附小我们专用的大模型的必要性。要不然我们始终是用模糊的东西在解决精准的东西啊为什么要建这个数字化的未来学校？就是我们经常说爱因斯坦的一句话，爱因斯坦说问题的产生问题的解决不可能在问题产生的框架里解决。我们现在在教室这种一对多的授课模式，我们这样一种班级授课模式一个年级一年级的打怪升级的授课模式，它没有关注到学生的个体我们就是上课提问可能我上了一天学，没有一个老师给我提问因为你提问数量比你有限嘛那么在这种情况下，传统的教学模式或者工业化产生的这种以班级化教学模式的情况下，工业化本身的教学模式解决不了，那么需要一种新的模式跳出原来产生问题的框架来解决问题。那我们找到的就是这种数字化的育人的场景当然呢，我们在建立了自己的一个智脑，大概基本上的 这个视频我看一下，就简单介绍一下我们，呃，我们有2个校区，那么实行这样一种光纤的数字融通。那么我们重点的就是在前期的数据架持仓的基础上建立了那个拂晓至老。简单的说，我们首先把数据把现实中的场域搬到网上，变成数据化。数据化之后呢，然后再把数据动起来就是这样一个过程。那么我们简单请2个小朋友来介绍一下，这是我们世界数字教大会的时候。我们2个学生大概介绍了一下基本上的应用。后面是点小气的。那么说这2个同学呢，就把我们拂晓至老的应用场景和我们拂晓呢学 AI 用 AI 的一个简单情况介绍了。那么就是说它这个建立的前提怎么建设起来的？那么应该说我们是经过了3部曲3个阶段。第一个阶段呢，你首先把数据要有数据来运营越多的数据越精确数据越好。那么我们 这个数据呢是用因为各个地区都有平台，我们用的就是我们武汉市的这个平台，那么做了一个智慧校园驾驶舱的建立。在这个里面就可以知道学校的所有的情况比方说我们学校的治理情况学校的数字治理就是有什么功能安排老师请假的比方说我们的学生他现在是一个什么状况他这个比方说学生扫码就可以做各种各样点评，我们有16个维度进行学生点评扫码或者是姓名登录他也可以在里面做一些广场活动等等之类的那么这个数据就最后生成每学期生成他这个数字报告册他上了大学之后只要我这个政府的网站还在，那么他依然可以看到小时候的东西。那这里面呢，不光可以保存他的各种数据，还可以保存视频，那里面有二维码等等之类的当然，这打开来就是每个人的个性化的数字报告当然也有教学方面的创新，教学上的维度从最基本的分数到这样一个学生的课程的选择那么这个中间的视频呢，就是表示我们的数字化方面的课堂那么在另外一个会堂呢，待会儿我们的熊海豹CIO 还会进一步来介绍这个具体的教学方面的转变。那么这个有个 AI 停课，因为它是内网就是我在任何地方，我就可以看到我们学校所有的课堂正在进行的，而且即时录、即时分析那么对课堂的这个 AI 分析单里面还有 AI 作文。还有 AI 语言等等之类的语言训练那么这个驾驶舱呢，就差不多就把我们整个学校的方方面面，包括我们对外帮扶的情况包括我们对外帮扶的情况比方说我们这个教育部给了一些帮扶任务，武汉市教育局给我们帮扶任务在里面都有体现。那么这是我们建附小智脑的一个基础性的工程那么那么这是驾驶舱呢，它就不需要账号，就直接可以进去的因为它主要是数据呈现，它并没有什么课堂教学的秘密什么之类的。那么第二个呢，就是我们这建模，就是我们用的这样一个智脑，除了我们校本的，它还有对外的。你光是校本的资源库，它毕竟有限，我们是校本智库能解决的，校本智库解决；校本智库不能解决的，在通用大模型去解决比方说这个苏格拉底那种问答呀，它都可以用这个通用模型来解决。那我们在建设过程中呢，在前面的基础之上，这个附小智脑，我们打开来就是我们通过这个武汉智药云当然各个地方都有，就只是一个数据平台那我们所有的应用场景都对接到这个数据平台上来。那么打开之后呢，就会我们看到这个教育云里面有我们这个附小智脑，其他的刚才数据的呈现，它实际上是背后的都是各个所有的应用的集合，这所有的应用集合起来就是驾驶舱的数据出来了我无论购买任何，比方购买这样一个课堂评价，购买这样一个校园监控，我的数据全是要接入进来的包括心理测评之类的那么我们这个附小智脑附小智脑它就进入了这个模块。那包括前期的学生画像、教师画像、学校画像，就那个数据驾驶舱，那前期的都在里面整合，包括我们刚才学生说的，我们做的一些编程的软件课程都在这边。那么我们分到6个方面待会儿跟大家介绍。那么具体来说作为这是我的账号进来的，那我们会看到我自己的知识库，看到共享知识、校本知识，还有家校智联的知识。那么有治疗这就治疗呢，就是说我问他一些学校的问题或者学校之外的问题他都可以来回答。那首先是当然我这之前问的别的这是都有记录包括我们的课程等等之类的包括我们可以把这些智能体都向学生发布，也可以自己编一些智能体其实现在说附小智脑是一个智能体，但后面一系列的支撑是30多个小智能体无论是校长助手，比方说我们要开会了，一键生成 星期的所有的数据就到手了，哪些老师迟到或者学生状况获了什么奖啊，就是校长助手都出来了。比方说我们的这个语音系统啊等等啊，全部学生学的啊最简单，包括我们一个证书一扫描，马上所有的自动分类等等啊，包括从备课开始啊，那么这就是我们的这个智脑的这个后台。那学生也有自己的账号或者扫脸登录。那简单来说，我们的这个首先是数据在一个平台上，然后我们用DeepSync再加上我们自己的校本来做各种场景的场景应用，分6方面，其中我们觉得比较简单一点的就是德育评价，就是5育并举啊，你找维度，扫脸就进行评价，在课堂、课外啊。那么它基础性的说我是教育专属大模型，基础性的工作就是建知识库啊，包括我个人知识库，把我们所有个人知识库能够共享的，就是学校的知识库，再包括这个我们各个教研组啊结合起来的校本知识库，当然有的是可以对外的，就不需要账号进去的，不需要学生账号或学生扫脸进去的，也不需要老师账号进去的，就家长啊随时都可以进去的，就是家校智联，就是这个知识库的校本智库的建设，简单来说是建了一个学校的数字档案馆，啊，它可以就把学校所有能够数字化的东西全部在网上。原来呢，你放到网上来，你还找半天，因为现在有这样一种这个大模型之后基本上你放进去，它会自动生成你所需要的东西。那么第二个呢，就是我们这个数字导师。数字导师呢，实际上说我们168个老师就168个数字导师。那比方说我有2个校区，也经常出差，校内呢我们那个书记校长也没分开，基本上是我一个人，经常要讲话。那么我们就可以让数字校长来讲话，就是分身。除了校长，还可以就相当于说老师24小时在线。这是个信息老师他的回答是基于他自己的个人见解和他自己的个人知识库个人知识库来回答，所以回答的当然是他的声音就更有亲切感。那么学生在课外或者是在任何地方、任何时间都可以向老师提问。如果这个老师回答不了，他就转为人工回答了，就是字库不能回答的就转为人工回答了。当然，我们有些移动单我们买了一个报小报的机器人，它可以在学校走来走去供大家来提问。我们在每个廊道里面都有这种屏，学生下课一扫脸就可以进入附小智脑的平台进行问题探索，开始的问学系统。的数字导师智创课堂呢，就相当于说我们的知识库里面还有一部分就是我们成熟的课堂包括我们每节课都录下来的这个 AI 评课，然后我们点这节课上的很好，就变成学校的精品课程，就自动进入我们的 这种课堂了。那么下一步的就是我们课堂进行切片啊，当然国家中小学智慧啊也在做。我不可能说我这个东西没学懂，然后推1节课给我，那这个点没学懂，那么他的学伴就自动推那个切片，可能10分钟、8分钟、5分钟的，把切片推给他。那么就是我们这个自创课堂是作为一个学生能够辅导学生的一个教学方面的资源基础这是在学生在使用自创课堂的一个层面我们是这个低年级主要是靠楼道里面的这种屏幕像大的这个 iPad 一样的进行穿梭。我们的高年级呢就实行这样一种人手一个 iPad 因为你不解决终端问题，学生始终只能靠一个一体机或者老师手机来实现。那么只有真正解决终端问题，才可能让数据流动起来，才评价更加精准一些那么这个是我们的智能学伴。智能学伴呢是我们做成长轨迹的第2大脑，也就是说，我们每个老师有个数字分身，每个学生也有个数字分身。这个学生数字分身是最了解这个学生的。我们有可能自己都不记得自己做了什么事儿，但是只要是网上经过的，只要是学习经过的，那么他一定会知道自己的所有的过往就是他学生是分身，然后他给学伴跟他推送相关的资料。那么这个呢，就是我们的家校智联。家校智联呢运用的比较多，就是你只要关注我们的微信公众号，大家谁都可以关注，对吧？世界人民都可以关注。关注之后呢，有个家校智联，点进去就可以提任何关于学校的问题你如果不是学校的问题，问了一个香港理工大学的问题，那对不起，他回答不了。他这个是相对封闭的就是只回答学校的问题家校智联。当然也不可能回答财务问题，因为那个智库里面没我投放在里面的智库里没有这个家校智联呢，就是随时可以了解学校的一切包括中午吃什么呀，包括这个哪个班的老师怎么联系等等之类的。那么最后呢，是我们下一步更做的就是更大的 AI 社区，就是我们一个学校老师知识库还是有限的要把所有的我们这个桥口的或者是武汉的，或者是我们邦福的学校，或者是北京的学校，我们都联合起来，形成这样 AI，包括学生之间也可以形成这样一个智校联盟的这个系统那么第3部分呢，就是说我们在成效验证方面成效验证方面，这个成效验证和未来进化，比方说数字赋能我们教育变革的成果这一个简单的在教师发展促进了教师发展、学生成长、家校协同，这个交流起来更方便一些。再就是这个一些辐射影响那么我们在这个模式上就是实际上是怎么建设的，就是从制度、系统、课程、数据、家校和校际这6个方面。这个跟我们常规的说副教教学改革评这方面角度不一样，主要是从运用角度来说。那么最后呢，也就是说迈向更加智能的教育未来。我们这个人工智能呢，它不是替代老师，我们知道，而是赋能教育者和学习者。我们扶小至老的终极目标就是让技术隐身于教育之后当数字导师在深夜还在为学生答疑时，当智能学伴精准的推送成长建议时，当智校联盟让我们偏远的地方的孩子都共享优质课时我们看到的不是冰冷的代码，而是每个孩子被照亮的可能。未来呢，我们附小将继续以这个校本化来破局，以智能化来创新与各位这个教育界同仁共创智慧教育共创教育强国美好的明天谢谢大家。
非常谢谢你的讲座，所以我们现在可以开放提问，请问哎，请问学有问题吗？
我就用普通话问你吧。然后我是山西运城学院的英语老师。然后呢，我是想，比如说我们也是有师范类专业的学生，然后就是像我们的这个培养学生培养的，就是说面向小学的英语老师。然后您作为这个校长来说，对他们有就说期待英语老师的培养，什么样的英语老师面对这样的一个数字校园的话，第一个问题。
啊，谢谢我们来自我们山西运城学院的老师的提问啊，这是大学老师。应该说现在我们素质素养呢是我们师范生素养的一个应该说核心素养之一或者主要素养之一吧，也不可能说我们无论哪个师范院校它都会培养教师的这个素质素养或者说我们说他是一个英语老师或者一个语文老师，只是他的主要的教学方向，竟然说他是以这个应该现在老师都是综合性的，特别是有一定的这个技术应用的交叉学科应用的，包括我们的国家对课时的要求，也就是说这个10%的实际上不是属于你的课时，是有交叉学科的所以我们包括华中师范大学在内的师范大学，在师范生技能方面培养上除了这个书写普通话等等之类的可能也有一个技术的赋能。也就是说，我们在实现这样一个转变过程中，其中一个重要的一环就是说，年轻人动得快一点，年龄大的动得这个慢一点。我们是用这个新带老的模式，就我们常规的老教师带新老师，在技术方面的转变，我们是新老师带老师，带老教师就一对应的那么年轻老师更有活力，对技术上的理解更新更加快一些也可以先这个帮老教师实现一些基本的转变。那么在我们高校的师范生的这个培养中，那么实际上也是包括很多师范院校都加强了这个教育实习，就是说你光理论上的这个提升师生素养还不够，还是场景的应用去包括以教学场景为主的应用。实际上呢，我们把这个数字校园建起来，最大的感触就是我们不是一个点儿上让别人觉得哎我体育的数据很强大或者说我的 AI 评课的教学数据很强大，而是一个所有的场景，就是尽可能多的场景运用起来，你的数字化的转型才能达到。也就是说，我们无论是未来的英语老师的培养，还是数学老师培养，他要在实践中，就是场景应用中，他去实行转变。实际上说，我们实际上是最难的。我们说最简单的是德育评价，反正一扫码一打一评就学分或者是赋分，反正让他各个维度都有体现。然后它是六边形战士还是一个它的雷达图就出来了，这是很简单的，就是只要你有一个平台，大家只要网上完成一个作业，它都可以赋分。然后第二呢，就是像体育语言类的，它也比较简单，它是比较专业，一跑步带个手环数据都出来了。然后那个语言的训练现在都很简单，就是你只要说一句，马上说你的作文写的好不好，马上你的英语标不标准，立马给你一个这个非常中肯的评价AI 改作文都很常见的。包括我们现在作文大赛都是 AI 先改一遍，高考也是介入了 AI 改作文的基本功能。那么最难的是教学，也就是说我们老师将来从业的教学上的转变，实际上是教学角色的转变，就是真正的想的很简单，就是课堂上有老师，有 AI，有学生，像基本上意识年轻老师肯定有，但是到底这个把原来的教的课堂完全主体的教的角色，加上这个 AI 也在帮你教。比方说我们在课堂里面的这个数字导师里面有一个，就是他随时可以点评学生的回答，那就是可能代替了老师的一些角色。那么在新一代的，或者说我们的新时代、新一代的人工智能时代的老师，他就必须在实践中，把这个AI 老师，其实平台现在随着大模型的使用，哪怕你自己没有开发专属大模型，通用大模型也可以实现部分功能。那么这个它进入课堂是必然的那么就是老师把原来我们这一批的老师的角色，要变成新一代老师的角色，加上 AI 老师取代了老师和学生的部分角色，那么新的这个教育生态相对来说是比较难的。我们现在主要是通过一节节课去引领，就是你讲个概念性东西倒很简单，要通过这个英语课，我们有个京剧老师在搞了一个湖北数字京剧人张玉科老师也在做，那就每个学科它有自己一个 AI 介入课堂的有一个丝滑度的问题，刚开始会陌生一点，会生硬一点就是我们如果说给师范生的一个建议，就是说，在就跟这个 在学中，在用中学，可能是在教育实践中去学，可能在登上讲台之后会更加从容的面对我们这个我们叫 Z 时代的家长，阿尔法时代的学生，可能这个不成熟的建议吧，谢谢的，谢谢你，
对，我们还有时间做一个问题。
啊，就是说你们那个华中师大的那个学生和你们这个附小还有附中，是不是都是时刻在保持这种实习啊或者什么的？就是有很多实习，这个是从这个学生老师的这个端。还有一个问题就是说是，如果是其他城市，比如说山西运城的学校里面没有这些智慧校园，您刚才讲的说是想把这种，比如说无论是偏远地区啊，还是什么样的地区的学生，都可以享有这样的一个智慧。但如果说是像我们这个几线城市的运城小学的话，他们没有这样的一个校园，怎么保持这个竞争力？
中国的这个教育现代化呀，基础性都有，就是我去任何地方，它都有平台，只是平台不同不可能说没有平台。特别是我们中国疫情之后，通过网上授课之后平台有只是有的没用。那么实际上说，如果我们附小来有更多的朋友介入，他只不过是在这个平台里面加几个账号而已，它实际上是就是可复制的。加几个账号就在这个社区里面。但是如果我们将来把不同的平台是打通了，就是在这个知识库上就可以实现共享了。它实际上也不是一个技术问题，它实际上就是说，基本上我们从商业模式来说，它就买一个应用，它不是说让你重新建的，因为都建好了。我们反复跟这个公司打磨应该怎么做，我们不希望一键生成一键生成教案，一键生成教案就很麻烦，用还也不好，不用不好。我们就是从教学目标开始教学目标生成了，我觉得同意也不同意，我修改，再生成下一步，下一步一步步下走，最后是我和机器一起生成的教案那就提高了效率。同样的，也就是说，我们跟公司在这个天域公司在做这个平台打造的时候，也是反复沟通。从应用的角度来说，它从计算实现，而这种计算一旦实现之后，它就可以复制。比方说我们山西这个运城的一个小学要过来，那就是说，他花一点点钱去买个服务就完了，就是给你学校所有老师给账号，马上数字老师，你把你声音录进去，把知识库建就出来了。他跟我们前期要花很长时间沟通交流不一样，它已经就是建模的意义就在于可以推广你可以用这个平台，或者说你用了你当地平台，然后找这个平台来对接，就好像说我们所有的购买一个东西数据，它必须要跟我这个平台对接一样的，无非是把另外你们当地这个平台是账号互接一下。你看我们这个我的账号就是在这个平台里面直接就切入了国家中小学智慧园，因为这个武汉教育云它跟国家中小学智慧园的账号是相通的，一样的嘛。如果你的平台直接跟我们账号就相通了就完了。嗯嗯啊好，谢谢。
对，谢谢大家聆听。对，所以现在我们是那个休息时间，然后我们11点才继续开始。对，谢谢。 So again, welcome for the 11 a.m. session. So next we have Ching, who will be talking about Metaverse, English Learning World, AI companion robot, and virtual environment to foster students' English speaking skills. So can we please give him a hand? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I thought that the medium is Chinese, but just now I told that using English. So apologize for my English is not so good. Okay, so apologize it. And let me introduce myself. I'm not from the university. I'm from primary school. I'm a school head of a primary school in a local in Hong Kong. That is a local primary school, and I've been working in the field for 30 something years. And I would like to incorporate different activities, especially those high-tech activities for the students to help them, equip them, building future skills. That's why several years ago, we established a Metaverse classroom using a kind of using kind of this MetaQuest 3. At that time, that is MetaQuest 1. Okay, it's from Meta, that is the mother company of Facebook. And we use the free app called the Horizon to establish a Metaverse room, helping the students to chat, to discuss with others, and not at the same place. Okay, it's because at that time it was in pandemic. We couldn't go to school, so the school bought few tents, equipments, this one, and borrow them to the students and let them have something more like lesson with us at home. So when we discussed, for example, science topics, the students felt like sitting by my side. And after that, we further developed this idea, and we enhanced it, the program, and we found a school in Singapore that can communicate with us using the same system. So at that time, we found that it's quite convenient for us to use this kind of equipments. And since it's free of charge, just buy the equipment is okay. It costs nowadays for the MetaQuest 3, it costs around, I think, 3,000 something Hong Kong a set. Then if we buy 20 something sets for the whole class, it's around 60 to 70,000 Hong Kong dollars. Then we can use it, and we found it's quite the effectiveness is quite good. And let me go back to my presentation, to my PowerPoint. So why do we introduce this program to the students? It's because sometimes the students lack of practice. That's why we now establish a classroom using this kind of machines, helping them to communicate with other people all over the world. Something like from China, no, not China, from Taiwan, from Singapore, and also from Bangkok. Yes. So they've got more chance to communicate with others using English. And it's quite interesting that after using this machine, they do not feel the fear, okay? And of course, they sometimes they don't know the students at the other side. They do not feel the fear of making mistakes, not like communicating with the teachers. And so they quite confident to try to use English just like me now to communicate with others. A course, for example, at Singapore, something like that. And we have established some other scenarios for the students to talk with the machine. Later on, I can show you some demonstrations. And in sufficient real-time feedback. Yes. So that's why we built this kind of classroom for the students. And the Metaverse is an immersive digital world that the students can enter using VR. Nowadays we use VR, and the latest development, our school bought a set of Microsoft HoloLens. Do you know Microsoft HoloLens? That is an XR technology, something like a glass, but you can see a lot of information. But at the same time, you can see the real world. And we try to explore what kind of equipments, instruments can help more. And at the same time, we built an AI companion robot. What we call now is an AI agent. Yes. And we connected with ChatGPT, but for ChatGPT is a kind of connection problem from Hong Kong to USA. And now we try to use technologies from mainland China, the DeepSeek, and also in virtual environment for the students. Okay, so why do we use it? It's first of all, it's a personalized learning experience for the students, and it's because the technology is really fast. It can help adjust the the speaking level of the students. Like, for example, if you ask the students to talk with the AI agent, after that, the agent can help analyzing its fluency, and pronunciation accuracy, something like that, and providing real-time feedback for the students. And also, we would like to lessen the teachers' burden so that the teachers can more concentrate in the lesson design more than correcting the students' task. And so we let the system help to correct is there any grammatical mistakes, errors, and more guidance in offering expressions. And nowadays in our school, we use a platform called iTeach, and that is an integrated AI platform for the students. Okay, so building after using the system, we found that the students are not pleasure as before, not pleasure, not as pleasure as before, and they think that it is a game more than an exercise. So we call it gamified learning experience, and we can also accompanying with the help of AI, we can easily track the result of the students. So we have continuously monitoring the students' confidence in improvement, and we found that with the AI companion, the result is better than the traditional classroom. And as I mentioned before, we build different scenarios for the students, like when they go to the airport and travel, what should they express? What should they do? And also booking something, checking in, going through the security, and inquiring about flight information, and also some life experience, like going dining with the family. And the activities, what we call is task oriented. And the AI agent we built for the students, we restrict the students to talk just within the task. And when they talk about something not related to the task, the AI agent will tell them, okay, let's go back to our topic, and blah 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 blah, and just ignore the the immersive learning environment. It's quite interesting that the students like to have their own. I'm so sorry that the dimension is not good enough to show everything. And the students, just like what I mentioned, the student perceive this as a game. So they like to build their own avatar, and also they like the role-playing exercise. Okay, and synergizing. Let me skip this. Maybe let me show you some of the platform, but I'm so sorry, it's sometimes it's in Chinese. Okay, now we built an AI agent to help students to learn by themselves. For example, when they when they go into different courses like English, we set different topics for them. For example, they have to learn some grammar items. Let me try. The AI agent will talk with them. Okay, so the AI agent will show the students what gerunds, infinitives are, and also having some exercise for the students, some question for the student to check whether they understand or not. For example, they will practice the AI agent talk that will practice gerunds and infinitives, and like using these words, love, enjoy, want to, and let the student try. And for example, I love swimming. Okay, When I try this, the AI will check whether it's okay or not and giving feedback for the students. And not only for English, after doing all these, we'll have what we call the result report from the system that we can check the results of the students, whether they build their foundations or not. Not only for the, for example, learning mathematics. It's about speed. So the agent show what is the basic concept of speed to the student, and having some exercise for them. For example, Xiaoming run for 30 minutes, then he runs 6 kilometers. So what is his speed? It's around, is it B? And the agent will check the answer for him. Okay. Or you can also ask the agent question. It will explain again to the student and check whether, and give questions and check whether they understand or not. And for the language program, the chatbot can help check their pronunciation and fluency. The first teacher pick was very lazy. He didn't want to work at all. Let me try. So, and then giving some kind of reference for the students, and also showing their results if they enter an international assessment like IELTS, what score can they have? And for example, you can see that the characters in different color. The green color means that the pronunciation is quite okay, but for the red color is not okay. It's because I didn't read it. And we set a lot of this kind of topics for the students according to our Hong Kong primary curriculum, what they should learn, and then we restrict the students to discuss with the chatbot with these topics. And let me check whether there is 普通话. We've got not only English but also 普通话. It's because in my school, I think more than 50% of students are not good at 普通话. and we would like to use the system to help them to speak more. Tao Song. It's okay lah. And we have different levels for the students. Some of them are more difficult and some of them are easier. And after using the system, we found the students quite engaged in learning. And also we use it in the way of self-directed learning. And we asked students to do some task after school before the lessons to prepare for the lesson, and then after having the lesson, then when they come back to school, they have more in-depth study with the teachers. So that's the system we are now using, and it's quite efficient for us to how can I explain? It's because we've always facing a problem of lack of lesson time. We do not have always do not have enough lesson time. So some of the topics we asked the students to use the system to learn the basic concept ideas, and then when they come back to school, they'll have a more in-depth, more interactive with not only with the teachers but also with the students, with other students. And yes, that's all of my presentation. And if you've got any questions, just feel free to discuss. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this insightful lecture. So now we have time for questions. Actually, would you want the Q&A also to be in Cantonese? That's also perfectly okay. Yeah. So yeah, Cantonese or English questions are also okay.
Thank you so much. It's quite a powerful system. I have two questions. The first is, have you ever taught your students how to use effective prompt? Because the example you're showing us is quite straightforward and simple. I was wondering, is there any complex or complicated interactions between the system and the learners? And my second question is, since you talking about embedding DeepSeek in your system. And as we all know, DeepSeek sometimes they can produce false information. And how would you deal with that? Thank you so much, sir.
So two questions. Number one, the prompt, right? We in this section, we are not talking about prompt engineering, like teaching students how to write effective and efficient prompt. And in our computer lesson, we taught P6 students to build their own LLM chatbot by using a Scratch-based platform, what we call block-based programming. And at that time, we teach the students what should we incorporate in prompt writing, and in other learning activities like project-based learning. Sometimes we ask the students to use the GenAI. Yesterday, I have a panel discussion about GenAI over there. We how can I explain? we not only teach the students to write a simple poem. Please, for example, please write an essay about full stop. That's not our intended goal. We'll help them to make it more specific. For example, when I preparing, that is a real project. They have to build a biography of a famous person. And it's one of the group, P6 group built a presentation of Elon Musk. And we'll help the students to equip them to write more, like what technologies does he invent, blah, 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 blah. And we've got a lot of questions to guide the students to be more specific, to ask the chatbot. And the result is like that. Do you know how many children does Elon have? Do you know? Elon Musk? 14 totally, but the group present 13. It's because that is what we call a false information from the chatbot. And after the presentation, other students check the information and found that it should be 14. It is because one of his child is what we call 啲私生子啊，怎樣講？係怎樣講咧？係一個私生子嚟嘅，死啊唔識講添。Not just record in the general information in the internet. That's why we also teach the students how to fact check whether the informations from the internet, no matter is from Google search or from the chatbot, we have to check the source. And some of the chatbot will show its thinking process. Do you know? It will show to the user that where is the information source and also the thinking process. So we teach the students to spot it and check it very carefully. And I think by doing this, this is what we call AI, is it literacy? We have to improve the students' AI literacy. But in the first place, it's the AI literacy for the teachers. Yeah, and how we, that is another topic. And in my school, we have AI literacy program, especially for using AI, GenAI. It's because later on would be a very that would be their future skill. So we better equip not only the skills for them, but prepare their awareness, something like this. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. So we have time for one more question. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask the presenter? Okay, if not, then again, thank you. Oh, all right.
Hi, I'm Diane from the Hong Kong Metropolitan University. I came in late. I wasn't sure whether you have already covered that. And did you explain how Metaverse here relate to English language learning? The role.
The role of Metaverse is it's an immersive environment for the students, and it's because for English learning in Hong Kong, especially our local primary school, many of the students are afraid to speak in front of a real person, and that's why we built Metaverse classroom for them to lower their fear and also build some scenario with them for them to communicate, interact with others. And nowadays, not only with interacting with other participants in the Metaverse classroom, but also we built a chatbot in the classroom so that they can interact with a real person and a chatbot. The second thing is that they perceive it like a game, just like they are playing an online game, something like walking around there, build. Yes, so it would be more easier for them to be engaged in such an environment. And also, it's because why do we develop an Metaverse classroom is that at that time, in the very first beginning, it was in the period of pandemic, COVID. They cannot go back to school. The only thing they got is Zoom lesson. But Zoom lesson for me is not quite effective, especially for lower primary students. So we trying to have some more immersive, more experiential learning for them. Yes. Okay. So
Yeah, thank you so much again for your time. And so yeah, we can now move on to the main keynote speaker at 209. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so now we will officially begin our afternoon session. So first we will have Kevin Young from EDU-HK and Natalie Fong from HKU and Amy Wang also from EDU-HK to give us a speech on empowering university students' critical and ethical use of GenAI in academic reading and writing and evidence-based pedagogical framework. Let's welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Welcome to our session. So as the Chair introduced, okay, this is our topic, okay, which you can see some keywords here, like university students. So may I know, anyone here are involved in work in the higher education context? Any university, like, oh, quite a lot, right? I mean, any secondary or primary school teachers here? Okay, we still have some. Okay, thank you. So that's great. So basically, we got data from university students, but definitely there are some elements, okay, from our framework or from our findings that can also be translated to the primary or secondary school context. And you probably are also attracted by words like critical and ethical use, right, of generative AI. So definitely, I mean, for this conference, we are talking about AI a lot, right? Technology. But how shall we guide our students to use GenAI critically and ethically? This is something we need to think deeply. And you can also see it focuses on academic reading and writing. So basically, we are talking about academic literacy in terms of reading and writing. And hopefully, okay, you will find it useful because we are going to look at students' experiences and then translate them into a pedagogical framework, like based on students' experiences, based on the findings we have got. We hope that we can have some advice or guidance for teachers in order to guide students to use GenAI critically and ethically in terms of academic literacy raising. So let me introduce a little bit of our team. So I myself come from the Education University of Hong Kong. I'm currently an associate professor, focusing on areas like supplementary tutoring, we call shadow education, but more related to the today's talk, my research focus on academic and English for academic and specific purposes. Because of my prior experience in the University of Hong Kong, actually I work with Dr. Natalie Fong. Okay, she's currently also teaching in the Center for Applied English Studies and at Hong Kong U, where we worked together some years ago there. And Natalie focused on a very experienced teacher in EAP and ESP. Right? And also my team, okay, a very competent senior research assistant, Ms. Amy Wang. She has a lot of experiences in terms of like researching students' experiences, and also she's very interested in e-pedagogy and the use of AI for teaching and learning. So today, three of us will be showcasing our findings and also our pedagogical framework. And this is basically our agenda. Amy will be introducing to you some project background, like how she is helping us, the team, okay, to collect data. And also, Natalie and I will be showing you a pedagogical framework called Guides, right? Which we will be unpacking the different elements here. All right, so this is what we are going to talk about today. So now I'm going to pass the time to Amy, who's going to talk about the project overview. Amy, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kevin. And good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to share our project finding here. As we know, after the release, since the release of ChatGPT in late 2022, and all these GenAI tools have been developed dramatically, like the Copilot, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and 智谱青言, Doubao in mainland China. We wanted to know how university students, to explore how university students use GenAI tools to assess their daily academic reading and writing, to identify and evaluate the effective features of GenAI in assisting academic reading and writing. And then based on these findings, we would like to come up with an evidence-based pedagogical framework to equip the university students to use the GenAI critically and ethically. We employed a sequential method design. First, we conducted an online survey from April to May. And the online survey focused on investigating students' perception of human writer responsibility and their awareness of GenAI's effectiveness and limitations. And we also want to know their confidence in their own academic reading and writing. And it's hard to just see the whole picture through the quantitative data. So after we consolidate the survey findings, we conducted 11 focus group interviews with the survey with 40 survey respondents. We would like them to share more details, like what they, how they use GenAI and the process with details like screenshots or writing samples. And we also want them to share their understanding of critical and ethical use of GenAI and how they practice their understanding, their principles in daily reading and writing using GenAI. And based on these elements, we have some encouraging finding, like when we ask about students' perception of human writers' responsibility, they show a high awareness of human writer responsibility. And we also try to explore the correlation between all these 4 dimensions, and it showed that significantly positive correlation among 4 variables. And then we conclude that a comprehensive pedagogy framework to include all these 4 dimensions should be able to improve the students' critical and ethical use. Then next, I will pass the time to Dr. Natalie and Dr. Kevin to walk you through the details of our framework. Thank you. Natalie, please.
Okay, thank you, Amy. I'm going to take you through to the pedagogical framework. All right, so you see this is the guide's framework based upon the findings and outcomes of the research. I'm going to talk about the first 2 steps within the process, ground and underpin, and Kevin will be talking about the remaining steps. All right, I'll be taking you through to the details of each of these steps in a minute. Okay, all right, have a look at this diagram. All right, as you can see, overall students reported medium academic writing confidence across these 8 criteria of academic writing. These are the 8 academic writing features that we, as a EAP, ESP teachers, cover in the lesson. Say, for example, how to build up logical and coherent paragraph, how to synthesize ideas from diverse sources, how to structure and organize the text clearly, and use a variety of sentence structures in the academic writing. I'm going to show you 2 direct quotes from the qualitative comments from the participants. Okay, as you can see, I've identified actually 2 factors. First is reliance on ChatGPT. The subject mentions that becoming quite reliant on the ChatGPT during the writing process. This suggests that ChatGPT is quite powerful, all right, as an integral tool for them, possibly due to its ability to provide students with instant feedback, suggestions. And the participants also mentioned being worried about they rely too much on ChatGPT or GenAI tools, and this shows a concern that over-dependence on the tool might hinder their personal development or intellectual growth. All right, so I think it's good that students have that kind of awareness. Another factor I identify and observe is the impact on their study progress. The subjects believe that their reliance on ChatGPT has slowed down their study progress. This could be due to the additional time or resources spent revising or re-evaluating the work based on the GenAI suggestions or output. Some of the students may question whether they could judge or evaluate the accuracy or reliability of the output generated by the AI tools. So this iterative process of modifying their paragraphs multiple times actually indicates quite a meticulous approach to ensure quality of writing. In fact, from these two direct quotes, I identify a dilemma here. It's a dilemma. So for sure, GenAI tools are so valuable for idea generation or brainstorming in academic writing process, and it could be serving as a compensatory tool to bridge students' gaps in their own abilities. However, this may increase self-doubts, all right, among the participants, especially in the continuous revision, editing, or modification during the writing process. And for weaker students, this may undermine their creativity. But for strong students, the high-achieving students, they may have the awareness of the limitations or strengths of different GenAI tools. So I'm going to talk more about this point. Okay, I'm going to introduce these few books, all right? As I've mentioned, the first step is very important for us to ground students the foundation of academic writing features. I'm going to introduce the second one, the green cover. This is the third edition of the course textbook for the General English for Academic course for Hong Kong U first year students, undergraduate students. It's a compulsory textbook. This third edition is forthcoming. All right. The course title is Academic Communication in English. Formerly, we call CUE, Core University English. So we basically use this textbook to introduce students a variety of academic writing features. Okay. All right, the second point, underpin students' basic understanding of GenAI. As we all know, it's crucial for students to understand both the advantages, drawbacks, and limitations of different GenAI tools. While these tools can provide students with valuable assistance in writing process, say, for example, generating ideas, improving language, improving sentence structure, or supporting students to improve their essay outline, they could have lots of limitations. So for instance, some of the GenAI tools may not be able to produce accurate or contextually appropriate content. So it's very important for students to be more aware of the strengths and weaknesses, or for teachers to introduce the strengths and weaknesses or limitations of all these GenAI tools so that the students could make more informed decisions when and how they make good use of these tools. Okay. All right, from this diagram, we see students reported relatively low usage rates regarding academic reading in the GenAI tools. And for writing, all right, basically they use GenAI tools more in the academic writing, especially to brainstorm ideas, to develop the topics of the essay, or to generate outline of the essay, right? And I would like to show you this example. Basically, we tested this example. We asked students to use this prompt. Can you recommend 5 journal articles for improving academic writing with in the references? And DeepSeek actually thought of about 2 minutes, and they generated the output. In green, that's the correct information, correct output. And for red one, we identified that actually the output provides invalid links, all right, invalid links. So all 5 articles are accurate, 4 from the good journals, and another one is from an online magazine. So compared to the resources or the output recommended by other AI tools like ChatGPT 4.0, 4.0 Mini, Gemini, Copilot, DeepSeek's actually recommending higher quality publications. So from this example, it's very important for teachers to introduce the various limitations and drawbacks of these AI tools in order to enable students to make informed decisions when and how they use. Right? Okay, I'll pass the time to Kevin. Right.
All right, thanks, Natalie. So Natalie has just introduced 2 major elements in our framework, right? The first one is to guide students' academic writing features, right? From her perspective, definitely, okay, even though GenAI has done the job of academic writing, we still need the students to reach like a threshold, okay, of understanding of academic writing features so that they can judge whether GenAI has given them useful language features, right? And this is the second point is about like encouraging them to use diverse range of AI tools for different purposes. Now the third one, the guide framework for the I, introduce students to effective prompting skills for reading and writing. So this part is about prompting, okay, interacting with GenAI tool. And basically, we have some, findings from the survey about how they feel that whether GenAI can effectively, guide, give them the useful information about reading and writing, and they generally perceive that it is quite effective. But when we come to focus group interview, they are like, yeah, I think it is effective, but somehow, okay, maybe because of my own problem, I may not be able to interact with AI that well. That's why they may not be AI may not be able to give me the kind of response that I expected. So we asked more in the focus group interview, okay, what they expect the university to do, what are the issues, okay, like in some quotes here, okay, like indeed, quite a lot of students expect some kind of workshops or introduction of the different types of learning tools, all right, like how to use the correct words or methods, okay, to prompt AI to give them the kind of things that they expect. Like what David said, okay, I asked a question in the wrong way, or keywords are not correct enough, all right? So it doesn't actually match his own expectation. So asking correct questions, prompting them, the AI, okay, is very important, okay? Also, like what Dana said, I sometimes feel lost and unsure how to interact with these academic AIs. Right? So it is important for teachers to give them some more guidance of how to prompt AI. We have actually done some kind of experiment, okay, with AI. Like, we import a piece of essay draft, okay, with this kind of prompt. How do you think about my writing in the following paragraph? Okay, and then paste the whole part here. All right. So from this, what do you expect GenAI to give you? Probably something general, right? I mean, because the prompt is very general, right? So basically, okay, this is what ChatGPT gave, okay, like clarity and flow, some brief ideas, precision and style, some idea, and then we write the essay, okay, the whole essay. Well, this is somehow useful, right? Because an improved essay can be used by the students, but at the same time, the students may not be able to learn very well what has AI revised and why AI has revised that particular part, right? So we recommend that we better give more specific prompts. Okay, for example, maybe not just for university students, but secondary school students as well, like IELTS, right? Or even for DSE, writing, okay? Any kind of writing. So we better ask to give them like a background, right? Like, suppose you are a very experienced IELTS writing examiner, please grade the essay and provide your feedback, IELTS writing task too, okay? And then, give them like a background, okay? I know some students or some of us are already familiar with this kind of prompt, okay? But it is good to guide the students to actually give AI a kind of role, okay? Or even you can input the marking criteria, the assessment rubric, okay, into ChatGPT. And maybe if you are using POE, anyone using POE poll, yeah, they have like a chatbot, right? Where you can like put in some documents, okay, including assessment rubric and stuff, so that they can act like that kind of examiner or assessor for you. Okay, and then if you give AI this kind of prompt, okay, it will give you very specific feedback based on the different criteria. And this is also something that we have consolidated, okay, based on the students' feedback and voices, okay, and also on based on some literature, okay. This is some of the examples, okay, of how we may prompt the students. Sorry, how we may prompt AI, okay, better, okay. Like rather than saying, "How do you think of my writing?" Please grade my writing from 4 aspects: clarity, okay. Clarity and flow, precision, and then alignment with academic writing style. And very importantly, okay, we suggest that list all the reasons for your comments for my review. So that this is particularly important for a learning purpose, right? So that the students can know, okay, what AI has revised, okay, and how they can, improve from AI's response. And also, okay, this is another example, okay? Give AI a role, okay? Or focus on some particular aspects, right? Or set some constraints, okay? Paragraph by paragraph, showing kind of comparison, yeah. So these are some of the examples. All right, so now coming to the fourth element, D, demonstrate to students how to evaluate GenAI's output and make responsible choices. Yeah. So we asked students whether they are aware of the limitations of GenAI, and they are actually aware of some of the limitations, like incorrect information, biased information, okay, stuff like that. And these are some of the students' voices, okay? They know that they are actually worried about the accuracy, okay, of the response, okay? And then some of them who are more critical may not, simply copy and paste, but some weaker students may just do that, right? Yeah, so making the kind of writing, okay, having an inaccurate content. So that's why, based on our findings, okay, or based on the students' struggle, okay, we have come up with like a list, okay. You may find it useful, okay. This is basically, like a self-assessment guide. When they are using GenAI, they may be asking themselves these questions. I'm not going to go through all this one by one, but basically, you can also, as teacher, come up with some kind of guidance for students' self-assessment, right? So this is for brainstorming, outlining, and inquiry, okay? And this is for proofreading, okay? Yeah, they can, ask themselves whether they have considered all these kind of elements or aspects, okay? And this is about adhering to the academic writing style. So finally, for the fifth element, establish students' accountability for the ethical use of GenAI, okay? Because our project focuses on critical and ethical use of GenAI. We actually ask students whether they are aware of any ethical issues. And of course, actually they are aware of that, right? They know that they should not copy. They should not, okay, plagiarize, right? I mean, this is what they know, they're aware of. But whether actually they are doing it or not, all right, is another question, right? So as a teacher, what shall we do? Okay, I know it is not easy, but this is one of the ways, right? We may focus more on the process of writing, okay? And even ask each students to kind of keep a journal. Even for university students, I mean, even for us as university teachers, we can encourage them to use AI, but they need to document how they have been using AI in different aspects. Keeping a journal like this, okay, this is actually from the students, okay, who shared with us how she like document, okay, the use of AI step by steps. Like first, I wanted to ask Gemini for some ideas, okay, to be included in my essay, and then I did this, I did that, okay, and then I found that I put it in, turn it in, okay, find some kind of similarity, okay, and then I revise, okay, and then do this and that, yeah. So what I'm showing you here is we may want some kind of record, more importantly, encourage them to reflect more on the actual use of GenAI for their, own writing. Yeah, this is somehow, kind of like self-monitor their ethical use of AI during the process. Yeah, I know it is in the end quite difficult for us to actually judge, right, which part is written by AI or not, right? It is quite difficult. Even for some detective tools, they may not be always accurate. If they detect some percentage, like 30%, if it is still very difficult for us to accuse students of actually copying from AI. They can deny, right? Yeah. So, but I think the reflection and the learning attitude is more important. Yeah. So what we teachers do maybe to actually encourage them to keep a document, okay, or like a journal. Yeah. Overall, okay, this is our framework, okay, for final S here, okay, this is at the center. What does it mean? Students in the center. So the whole process should be student-centered. Yeah, this is what we actually got feedback from our sharing workshops, okay, with teachers. Some of the teachers actually suggested that we include the S at the end to emphasize that the whole process, even though it is a pedagogical framework that we call it, it should still be student-centered. Yeah. So this is the flow. Okay. So we hope that you find this pedagogical framework useful. Okay, and then give you some inspiration in your teaching context. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. So now we welcome questions, right?
Thank you for your talk. I think it is really useful for teachers and also very informative. And I have a question about those questions that you set for students as a self-evaluation for the GenAI usage. Have you actually thought of using this, converting this into a assessment that students have to report their usage of GenAI and including their self-evaluation? If not, then what is the difficulty in doing so? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think this is a very good suggestion. We haven't yet come to this step yet. If this is, somehow we generate this kind of guide, okay, and then we just, like post it on Moodle and then for students self-use. Yeah, but definitely, okay, if I think teachers, if we are now encouraging them to keep like a portfolio, right? Yeah, definitely. Not necessarily all the questions. Some questions can be selected and put in the portfolio, like encouraging students to anyway answer some of these questions for self-evaluation purpose. Yeah, yeah.
I want to add on a point. At Hong Kong U, we did ask students to complete declaration form, all right, to actually declare or to actually record what they have done. So we may add some of the questions there, right? Actually, the form is here. I may give you one example. So students need to read the following statements carefully and check the box to confirm they understand and agree. I'll give you an example. This assignment is their own work, haven't had any GenAI write or create part of it, etc. And if they actually declare they use any GenAI in their assignment, they need to explain clearly what they have been using or why they have been using. Or we could ask students to write a self-reflection or personal reflection to explain clearly the process of this of the writing, academic writing and reading.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of universities are also doing that, right? I mean, the education university as well, we have like a declaration form. Yeah. Quite similar, actually. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So the concept of process writing was mentioned during the talk. So I'm curious to know that whether this kind of way to do writing has like become like a practice really being adopted now at Hong Kong U or at EDU, because I sort of know process writing is actually quite time consuming. So I'm curious to know whether it is being practiced now currently at the universities here.
Thank you for the question. I think it really varies course by course. So far as I know, in education university, it doesn't have like a framework or guiding principles like asking teachers to actually use process writing. But from our study, we think that it is a way to go, okay, if we still keep essay writing as one of the assignments. Yeah, so to answer your question, not exactly we are doing that at U, not in Hong Kong U, right? Yeah, so it really depends on the teachers. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? No? Or any other comments you want to say about this presentation? No?
Yeah.
Okay. For the last question, I have something to add. Actually, when we conduct the feedback on this guide framework with our with the teacher in our university, they share that sometimes they have different kind of assignment, like reflective writing is not like that academic. Then they don't require this kind of AI records. But if the assignment is academic essays, then they will require if the students self-report they are using AI to assist in this process, then the students should be able to provide their records, continuous records, if the similarity is too high, or the AI rate is too high. Yeah.
Sorry. No, not necessarily like a portfolio, but yeah, I mean, but some teachers, like I mentioned, like keeping a record of the different stages. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, actually we forgot to mention in our project, we also interviewed university teachers and asked them to give us feedback on this framework. So after this talk, we welcome definitely, okay, if you have any feedback, okay, on a framework or how to further improve it, okay, feel free to email us. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we will have almost half, 30 minutes break, and because the second presenter canceled his speech. So if you want to, have some work, but please come back at 3 o'clock. Yeah, okay? So see you later. Or other presenters, if you want, you can try to copy your PPT here and to test. Ching. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So now we will begin our next speech from Locky Law from HKU. And the topic is Timeskipping 5 years ahead. What challenges will English for academic purpose face in Hong Kong? Let's welcome. Okay.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my talk. And last minute work, so I forgot my universities and centers logo, so it doesn't fit very well. It's on me. Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you very much for coming. And we are jumping ahead. With time skipping ahead five years to see what kind of things will happen to us EAP teachers. I assume everybody here is an EAP teacher, right? Otherwise you won't be here. And I suppose everybody here are teaching in Hong Kong, is teaching in Hong Kong, otherwise you won't be here. So then you're right. Okay, you should be in the right classroom. Oh, hold on. Oh, technical issue, small technical issue. It's not moving. Or I'm just going to use the mouse for now, or the keyboard for now. And great. Okay, so here's the agenda. Not too many. First, we'll talk about the student enrollment trends over the years in Hong Kong, how AI is affecting jobs. Actually, I also left out, affecting jobs and education. So I'll put that back in later on. Next one, macro challenges facing EAP, followed by micro challenges in English proficiency. Then finally, the conclusion of what could look like 5 years from now. All right, so start from the student enrollment trends over the years. First, I dug up the data from the UGC website, and here you can see students enrollment headcount for Hong Kong, all right, from 2009 to 2023. And as you can see in the table there, all the numbers tabulated. The ones in yellows are actually my projection based on a logarithmic regression line, if you know that. But yeah, basically, as you can see, according to the projection, which is very high accuracy at 0.92, our square value, we are looking at Hong Kong increasing the number of headcounts per year by about, let's just on average, right? By about 700 students per year. That's for the entire Hong Kong. And as you can see, these are the values in focus, the projection values in focus. And what does that translate to for each of our universities? So here I did the one for Hong Kong U first, because that's where I come from. And as you can see, the accuracy is still very, very high. It's 0.95 or 0.9441 R², very, very accurate. And we're looking at Hong Kong U having about 200 students increment per year. Of course, the one that, as you can see, is a decrease of 500 is 62. That one, because we still don't have the value for this year, but we'll see. Then the trend doesn't really change. The trend is still very accurate. It's still uptrending for Hong Kong U. All right, what about the other universities? Now, I haven't done the projection, 5-year projection for the other universities. Sorry, my a bit biased, but as you can see, basically you can see the trends is roughly the same, right? City U, all right, we are statistically is going lower, but if you look at the green line, it's still trending up. Then there is HKBU, all right, trending up. All right, and that basically all these student headcounts includes undergrads and postgrad and research graduates. That includes everybody else, everybody. Okay, so going up. Lingnan, LU, that's going up as well. And CUHK, right, up to 21,000 already. You can see the numbers. EDUHK, all right. A bit of a fluctuation, but it's still going really high, especially from 2022 to 2023. It added about 900 students in just 1 year. All right. And of course, where we are here, Hong Kong Poly U. All right, steady trend, trending up slightly. All right, but you can still see increments of student intake. All right, this is important to know. All right, finally, UST, very, very good looking graph. All right, as you can see here, adding about 100 to 200 to 300 students per year, total headcount wise, and also a very, very accurate trend line there as well. Right. I'm throwing you all of that data. I'm not going to explain what it means yet, okay? And I'm going to give you a bit more, so-called affecting factors before I round it up and say what they are. But just bear with me. I'm just giving you all the findings I collected. So next part is how AI is affecting jobs. Forgot the and education part. So top part there, you can see that's the Hong Kong U School of Computing and Data Science. It's a new school that we actually just created because of, you know what, AI, right? Down there, that is the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and they also have their own Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I suppose all the other universities also have their own programs and degrees, new degrees related to AI, right? That's because that's why we're here. That's why we have this conference, right? Or the summit, right? So we know how important they are, AI is. However, if you look further away from Hong Kong, for example, this is the Straits Times. Microsoft laid off its software engineers hardest as with AI costs on the rise. Screenshot the whole paragraph, not the whole, but half of it, the article. I want to draw your attention to a few of these paragraphs. In Washington, Microsoft's home state, software engineering was by far the largest single job category received layoff notices, making up more than 40% of the roughly 2,000 positions cuts, according to the state documents reviewed by Bloomberg. Next, right at the bottom, at Microsoft, as much as 30% of some project codes is now written by AI. The chief executive said that in April. All right, several tech companies are reshaping their workforces as they focus on AI. All right, again, I'm not saying what I want to say. I'm just going to give you all these information. Next, all right, this is NDTV education. Computer science among majors with highest unemployment in US. Another paragraph, another chunk. I'm giving you some focus paragraphs here. Computer science has been one of the most popular college majors in recent years. And then something I can't see. Students choose it believing it offers strong job prospects and high salaries. However, recent data reveals a different story in the United States. Many graduates are struggling to find jobs in the field. Next, according to a report by Newsweek, based on data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, computer science ranks 7th among undergraduates major with the highest unemployment rates, currently at 6.1%. This places it just behind other majors like physics, 7.8, and anthropology, 9.4. Last paragraph here. The report also noted that the unemployment amongst recent graduates more broadly is increasing, with the number of Gen Z households receiving unemployment benefits rising by 32% year over year as of February. Okay, and after reading all that, obviously I have to consult some of the experts. Now, I have a degree in computer science because I did my bachelor degree in 2004. Albert Ming was one of my dear friends and ex-classmate, and he's now working for PCCW Solutions. So I text him, would you say fresh grad market now is better or worse compared to our time? Our time meaning the .com, when the .com exploded, 2004, the year I graduated from computer science. And he said, worse. Many companies post job ads that requires two year or more experience. They don't want to train fresh graduates. Most of the time, fresh grads left after 2 to 3 years for better salaries. Okay, that's talking about from the Hong Kong perspective, right? So let that sink in a bit. Right, coming back to the education part, we all know this news, right? RTHK, universities fully prepare for funding cuts. That was February, right? We all know about this. So here's the extract from that. This follows Financial Secretary Paul Chan's announcement in his budget speech that publicly financed universities will see funding slashed by 2%. The reduction will be compounded over 3 years. And so that means it results in saving of 2.8 billion between these years. And then, of course, the UGC also reviewed in a subsequent statement that the university needs to return 4 billion from their general department reserve fund to the government in a one-off special arrangement. We all know that, right? So that's just a recap. And before that, this is from South China Morning Post. We got the title there. I forgot to highlight. Language skills shouldn't be compulsory for university admission in Hong Kong, says the group of principals. So a group of secondary school heads in Hong Kong has called on the government to drop the language requirement for university admission to avoid placing too much focus on the skills as authorities seek to promote institutions specializing in vocational training. Next, the Hong Kong Association of the Heads of Secondary Schools on Thursday suggested only the total grade points in the best 5 subjects be counted instead of the current grades for both Chinese and English languages. All right, again, so we're seeing a lot of different things happening, or somebody suggesting something should happen. Right, and then this is a letter that actually written by our CAES colleague, by the way, Alison Ng, and she wrote to South China Morning Post, responding to that news, saying that, however, I have observed that there are more students struggling to speak English in complete sentences and write error-free complex clauses, not to mention their limited vocabulary and weak listening skills. I think a lot of us have experienced the same thing, right? Okay. And she's saying this because she does not agree with the association, the head of secondary school heads, their point. Okay, and so finally, we come back to the artificial intelligence, but not any artificial intelligence, but we're looking at AGI. So I think some of us might have heard what AGI is. We definitely know what AI is, but what is AGI? So artificial general intelligence, AGI, refers to the hypothetical intelligence of a machine that possesses the ability to understand or learn any intellectual task that a human being can. It is a type of artificial intelligence that aims to mimic the cognitive ability of the human brain by Google Cloud here. And then I'm not going to read out everything, but basically what AGI can do is that it possesses certain key traits and generalized ability and common sense knowledge. So it can do all of that, which is something we are heading towards right now. So I will show a quick video clip of Professor Stephen Hawking. Yep.
Unfortunately, it might also be the last. Are you saying that robots are going to destroy humanity? And is that a scientific argument or the pitch for an amazing movie? I know you're trying to get people to be cautious there, but why should I not be excited about fighting a robot? The first question they asked was if there is the whole of the mind select of so the drink of
Okay, so that sums up what AGI kind of is. All right. And why are we talking about that? I mean, all of these things. Why are we talking about all of these things? Well, AIinVest has actually done some research on kind of projecting the when AGI will arrive in front of us. So firstly, of course, obviously went back to the the GPT and the general AI and then GPT-4. That already happened, right? And if you want to look at the kind of the projection, if the forecast now well tuned, it's going to arrive somewhere in 2030. If it's forecast errors continues, then maybe very soon, 2027, we might be seeing the first version of AGI. When, as you heard from Professor Stephen Hawking, it's some program that can design itself, improve itself, or without us giving any prompts or whatever. Okay, so here is my kind of roundup or summary of the macro challenges that facing EAP. First of all, we've got the gradual increase in the overall student intake. All right, that's in Hong Kong. Students with bachelor degree in AI-related degrees, but they are unemployed. We have reduction of UGC funding. We have potential risks, like a group of powerful people say they want to remove English language requirements and AGI, potentially. We have rapidly improving AI technology, of course, the AGI part. So these are the things that we are facing and will probably be facing in the next 5 years, according to data and research and predictions, projections, and all that. So possible solutions I can maybe think of, right? Okay, hire more EAP teachers, please. More efficient assessments to reduce teaching workload. That definitely can help the first point. Okay, students with bachelor degree in AI but unemployed. What are we going to do? What can we do about that? We can maybe teach students practical and transferable workplace communication skills. Exactly what ESP is doing, what Mabel is doing, right? Okay, has been doing for a long time. Handling clients, language in meetings, email etiquettes, because they're not going to get a job in AI or anything related to that. They need the skills for other kinds of jobs as well. Okay, reduction of UGC funding, I cannot do anything about that other than finding ways to minimize the administrative workload and consider zero budget research or / cross-institution collaborations in that sense. You don't have any funding, then you got to still do something, right? All right, potential risk. Maybe create a pre-spawns team to discuss potential solutions. Not a respawns team, but a pre-spawns team. For example, I saw the AI coming back in 2017 when I was doing my PhD. And at that moment, I felt it was already very scary. But, you people are reactional. So you only see the things happening, then you react. And that probably might be too late if you think about that. What is coming. Last one, for most of us EAP teachers, asking you to try out every single app is very difficult, very demanding. So at least try to keep up with the news. That would be pretty good already. Understand the benefits and risk of new tools. So these are the possible solutions for macro problems. But how about the micro ones that are in classrooms? So micro challenges. You attended Professor Rodney Jones' one. We have the exact same references. I did not add it after his talk. We had the exact same references. But basically, because he talked about it already, I'm not going to expand. It's just not positive. The results is that there is a tendency of eroding critical thinking skills, all right, with the more AI you use. This is Times Magazine interviewing the researchers for this paper, okay? So thanks to him, I don't have to elaborate on that one. Micro challenges, lowering English proficiency, we see that. Decreasing learning motivation and purposes, everybody is suffering from this as well. Reducing in-class communication in English, because of that, decreasing learning motivation. And lastly, increasing dependence on GenAI technology. And this is a cycle, it's a vicious cycle. I have a few possible solutions. I'm not sure whether it'll work or not, but anyway, if you want to tackle the lowering proficiency of English, definitely, enhance support systems for non-EMI students, according to research 10 years ago. And also Pun and Jin, all right, 4 years ago. That's still very important. Also create shared timeless learning resources like Purdue OWL. Everybody knows Purdue OWL. We share that because it's timeless. It's always going to be useful any years. YouTube channels, even MOOC, MOOC, all right, can promote self-learning and basic academic English. To tackle the decreasing learning motivations, we talked about integrating AI literacy into the curriculum already. A lot of us have talked about that. But I want to emphasize on the part that you want to show the students the correct ways to critically use these new AI tools for easier and more effective learning, because they are not motivated, right? Learning is hard. We all know that. So we have to make it more effective and more efficient for them so they can pick out these skills much more easily, right? And then create purposeful activities and achievable tasks with GenAI. You still have to use GenAI anyway, right? So for example, you can ask them to choose from a list of given resources, okay? And use Notebook LM to generate a podcast for listening practices. So we can go into these all multimodal learning, and it's very low budget, very low, very little demand for the teacher as well. Students can do it, teachers can do it. It's very easy, and it actually adds more layer to the learning part. Next one, reducing in-class communication in English. This is the motivation part, very, very difficult. So you got to look at what young people like to do. You want to create fun and challenging in-class tasks or games to make students want to speak English and not just need to. They want to, not need to. For example, you can do something like this. In groups, create dialogues for a chill podcast, similar to the Notebook LM, but this time you have a chill podcast on the topic of X, and then use Google AI Studio to generate the podcast. Now, that's because Notebook LM does not let you intervene with what they say, but Google AI Studio can, and they are both free apps. So students can put in the dialogues they want the students to they want the podcast, the host to say. They can make them say anything, and it's fun, right? So you have to make fun things so that they want to do these activities, and in the process, they learn. Finally, the increasing dependence on GenAI. Now, we cannot stop students using GenAI, so we have to show them how to use GenAI as learning and feedback partner. Right? A lot of you have already mentioned that. For example, you give them a prompt that says, what is the correct way to use which clause? Question mark. Ask AI to create, ask AI to create an exercise with the answers, but only show the answers when told. So that the students get the questions, get to do the exercise, and then students say, I'm done. I enter tell the AI, now you can show me the answers, and then it will show you the answers. Not only that, you want the AI to rate the accuracy of these answers that the AI generated out of 100%. So you want to make sure that the AI knows and double checks the accuracy part because of hallucination. Okay, so something like that might actually improve students' motivation that they want to learn, and somewhat alleviate the vicious cycle here. Okay, so conclusion, time skipping 5 years ahead. What can we do, right? Summary, it's student enrollment at university is likely to increase by a total of 4,000 according to my projection. That's a 4,000 across 5 years. So we need visionary leadership, for sure, Computing and AI-related jobs for undergraduates will continue to drop. So they're going to graduate with a degree and they're not going to get hired. Therefore, EAP needs to be more ESP and more transferable for the future goods of these students. I mean, yes, they still need EAP to do their assignments, but for the future, once they graduate, what do they have? What do they have? They need more ESP stuff. Right? We cannot stop students using AI, so adapting to AI advancement is crucial for any EAP programs, but focusing on the efficiency and how to make learning easier for them, so it kind of make them want to learn more, because learning is always difficult. Creativity is needed to motivate students in the age of AI. For example, what kind of creativity? Okay, now self-promotion, shameless self-promotion here. I did a presentation at PolyU some months ago. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, because I have a lot of messages for the teachers. Obviously, something that I did not cover today had been covered in that presentation. So take a snapshot of the QR code. But I want to show you one example of what I mean by a fun and creative activity. So, okay, so that will be this baby here. It's going to take you 3 minutes of attention. Okay, it's one of the best. Yep. Okay. So that's the end of my presentation. Basically, that's what I mean by, making it creative and fun for your students. Obviously, not on the topic of smelling people's pee, urine, but make it EAP. That could do. All right. So thank you very much for everybody. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Our teacher's chance and very inspiring sharing. And so I want to know, could you share your experience of using AI in your teaching? And if you meet some difficulties, how do you deal with this difficult conditions? Or yeah.
Okay. Hello. Oh yeah, okay, I can use this one. That's good. No, really, I have never had any difficulties, using AI, because the things that I get to do with AI in class is very basic. Like, okay, most interesting one will be like you have a long PDF document from the university course that nobody wants to read, right? Rubrics and everything, a few hundred pages. So we tell them to put it into POE, generate a mark map, turn the mark map into a mind map that is interactive so they can shrink and expand and do whatever they want. It's good summary, very visual, very colorful, and then they can take this experience to use it for any other lecture slides, any other lecture notes that they don't know where to start with, you know. So makes learning easier. That's the point, right? How to make things easier, more efficient. Of course, the summary is not always accurate, so always tell them they have to double check. But the good thing about using AI turning into mark map, then turning into mind maps, is that they can include all the page numbers. So you can actually click the page numbers and then it takes you all the way to that particular paragraph. Just like Notebook LM, it can do all that for you. So you don't have to waste time searching for particular information. So that's basically it. So I'm going to try some new things coming up in the next semester. So we'll see what happens. But thanks for your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah.
Honestly, thank you so much for your presentation. Honestly, my question is not related with the research, but related with the skill of making the PPT. I noticed that the kind of a mirror and the kind of a the lightening of one part.
Okay.
We are very interested and curious that how you made it. Yes, this kind of effect.
Yeah.
Could you please teach us?
Very quick. Okay, so you create like a shape, and then you create another shape over it. So you have two shapes, and then you can use subtract and crop it out. So I don't know if I can do it quick enough, but yeah, just do that. So you select this, and then you can use subtract. So take out that subtract. After you finish that, you go to transition, use morph, and it just naturally do the animation for you. Yeah, it's 2 steps, very quick, very easy. But yeah, thanks for your question. So thank you.
Okay, yes. So when you suggest a shift from EAP to EST, what do you mean? Because there are also arguments saying that EST is not necessary in the AI era. Yeah, so what is the focus?
Thank you for that question. Actually, you inspired me to put that in. So the fact that you're asking me this question really scares me. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at the job market, seriously, like if you know these students they are going to take a bachelor degree, they're going to do a bachelor degree in at your university, and then after that they're not going to get hired, which was what I experienced back in 2004. Then I asked myself, like, what is some of the skills that I could not learn from university? I mean, the thing about EAP is it's so academically purposed, right? It's good for assignments, it's good for thesis writing, but after that, when you go, let's say I cannot get a job in AI firm, I work in a hotel, which I actually worked at Hotel Icon, by the way, for 3 months. I was a marketing manager there. I need to know what kind of skills I need, and that's not something I learned from my linguistics course, you know. So I need some ESP for me to handle my clients, the you know, customers, or depending on what field you are. So I need those, maybe how to handle your boss in meeting. What do the boss need to know from you in a commercial setting, right? Like obviously my boss at that time requires me to remember all my entire schedule for all the social media posts that I had to do for the entire month. Like that's something I was not expecting, and I didn't know how to reply to him. You know, that kind of thing, that kind of really, the business skills that we never get to learn at university level. We gotta have to sip in something like that to prepare these guys who are going to go jobless, because then they need to go somewhere else, and preferably some other jobs that has meetings and boss and colleagues that they need to handle. Now, these are not the skills that we teach them, you know, in our EAP. So kind of zipping in a little bit of that will be important. Yeah, that's what I mean. I hope I answered the question. But yeah, thank you, Mabel, and thank you for your book. Obviously, you inspired me. That. Thank you everybody for attending the talk. Thank you. Yeah, it's the tea break, right? Okay. Tea break. good advantage of being the last speaker.
Thank you for your presentation. That is
you.
really inspiring. So some people are suggesting to count the best 5 for the university entrance stuff. So what is your personal opinion about replacing Chinese and English language as compulsory subjects for the university entrance requirements?
Sorry, you're saying including or excluding?
Excluding.
Excluding. Well, my view is the same as my colleague's view. You know, the Allison's quote. Basically, we're already seeing a decline in the students' English ability. If you're not going to make it compulsory, then obviously that means more work for the university teachers, right? You know, and that's going to be really bad because it's already pretty bad now, to be honest. If you notice, right? So if that happens, that's why we need a pre-spawns team, because this is not happening. It has not happened yet. But what if it happens, right? What if? Do we have any policy to handle this? Do we have any corresponding reactions or pre-actions to tackle these problems? That's why we have to think about these, I don't know, out of class activities as well as in class activities, or the student support, all these different things, because when it comes, you might not even have enough teachers to go around. I don't know, because of AI. The student enrollment is going up, but I don't see institutions hiring more English teachers. Like, I see a decrease of that, and that's not good, right? Because if something like this happened, you actually do need more teachers. So where are you going to get it from? Teachers have already switched jobs, switched the field. Maybe it's somewhere in marketing, somewhere business. I don't know. So it is kind of worrying. Yeah. So same comment, same feeling. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question.
Any no? Okay, thank you, Dr. Lau. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. So let's begin our next session. Next one, we will have Dr. Chen Qinghua and Lucy Tracy from EDU-HK to give us a speech on the reimagining language assessment through distributed wheels of language and AI-assisted feedback loops. Let's welcome them.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to time myself. I think it's very important to keep our presentation under our time limits. And thank you again for coming here. Today, I would like to share our, in fact, research story of the endeavor that we have been going through this. Because we are doing something about assessment, I think this is a very important point that I would like to make at the very beginning of our speech. So we'll first talk about the theory, which is mainly we draw on Professor Paul Thibault's theory of distributed view of language. And we are trying to apply that theory, which I'll introduce later. And I personally feel it's very abstract to me when I first started to approach it. And we are trying to do an exploratory work and trying to use this theory to try to reimagine what more ecological, valid assessment of English language could be like in a school context. So you'll hear theory today, and you'll also hear the field work that we've been doing within the school. But let's begin with a little bit of a theory and background first. First, it's kind of, we feel that there's a traditional language assessment, which is usually which is still going on in a lot of the schools. We're giving students assessment. We're giving them questions on grammar. So they need to complete sentences, fill in the words with the correct form of the vocabulary and things like that, which is based on the view that language contains the codified patterns, and there is a discrete linguistic knowledge that the learners needs to master in order to perform very well. Okay, so and there's a lot of tests based on that as well. So the current approaches, we would argue, treat language more also like a static system and forms rather than a dynamic social action. So the language that is being tested within all the school tests is distinctly different from how languages actually helped us communicate in our everyday life. So there's a gap we see there between the real world languaging and the classroom assessment practices. So this is where this research originates from. And there's the need for assessment that could capture the whole body dynamics and the ecological embedding, which we borrow Professor Paul Thibault's theory, and which I will explain a little bit later. So this is where we're coming from. And also, we're trying to see how the integration of AI technology would work in educational assessment. And I see many interesting studies explored the same thing in today's and yesterday's conference as well. So there's we believe that there's the potential for AI to capturing the ecological languaging competencies, which is Professor Thibault's term. And here we would like to also talk about the psychometric measurement, which is usually based on the traditional approaches of language that we talked about before. We're seeing language as an inherent ability within a person that can be measured through standardized language test. We are not object to that, but we think that more could be doing in this regards to improve the ecological validity of this test. So this is where we're coming from. So first, a little bit about the theory of ecological languaging competency. First, we say that languaging as a verb-like action, so rather than noun-like system. This is a different ontology. And also the whole body dynamics connecting persons and their activities to the world. Also, the biosocial techniques for acting on parts of our environment. So we can see, from this term, we can see it borrowed a lot from the ecological perspective about language. So we see language as the ecological languaging competency as inseparable and entangled with individuals' real-world activities. Through the learning with Professor Paul Thibault, we have constantly heard the example from him about bringing coffee. So there are many, for example, now if I want a cup of coffee, there are many ways that I can achieve this purpose of having maybe Tracy to bring me a cup of coffee. I could say a very discreet sentence like, Tracy, would you please, I can be polite. Tracy, would you please consider bringing me a cup of coffee? Yeah, I can do this. So, and usually the language test on this paper would usually focus on whether you can do this kind of sentences in the correct and accurate form. But in real life, we do that a little bit differently because I'm very close to Tracy. We're good friends. So I may consider, oh, Tracy, I want a cup of coffee. So I just say, I just telling her that I want a cup of coffee and she will get it. Then she will she will take care of me and bring me a cup of coffee. So what we see in here is that while we're using our language, there's this environment, okay, with this real world activities that we're incorporating into. So in this ELC framework, we have a few important distinctions. The first one is the first order languaging, which is the embodied dynamics in real time. And the second order language, which is the sedimented patterns from cultural and historical time scales, which we would say, such as the grammar test being carried out in the school environment. And also, we need to consider that ELC competencies emerge diachronically through sustained participation in the ecological niche. I think this is a bit, it was really complex. I'm not sure if I have completely get this term, but I will try to share my understanding of it. So it means that in order to achieve ecological languaging competency, this language learner needs to be participating in the specific environment that the student has been in. Through this participation, such as asking Tracy to find ways to ask Tracy to bring me a cup of coffee, it is through sustained activities like this that the ecological languaging competencies can be improved. So this is our theory. So that we're going to talk about some limitations of the traditional approaches, which is communicative competence. So in the past, we usually assume that there's a shared code and a predetermined forms and meaning pairings of language, so that there is the psychometric constructs, which we would say would ignore the diachronic emergence of the competencies that we've been explaining just now. And also, the dominant language will focus on the polite civility rather than the adaptive languaging. Okay, so we consider the ELC alternative as it's a skilled activity that would be mashing linguistic patterns, which is the second order language that we talked about just now, and also the embedded actions, the social interactions all together. It's a coordination of a performance. So it's a participatory sense making in the common attentional field, which is like Tracy's paying attention to. So Tracy is paying attention to our presentation now, and if I see something, he will bring that into consideration. So we're in a situation of a common intentional fields. So the vicariant selection possibilities across action, the perception, and language system actually means that there are more ways of achieving some kind of communicative purposes, like the coffee example as well. So I can say, please bring me a cup of coffee, but there are definitely other ways. To achieve this purpose. And we have to consider that it is up to the students to consider what kind of ways that they would be able to use in order to achieve certain communicative purposes. So based on this based on this ELC perspective, we are trying to contextualize these theories in our actual field work by bringing the loop pedagogy that our research team had developed together, and we've done field work in a primary school in Hong Kong. So now I would pass on to Tracy to talk about our field work and the loop pedagogy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Qinghua, for underpinning the theoretical foundations for ELK, the ecological languaging competences. So basically, we deployed this loop pedagogy. We collaborated with a local primary school, trying to explore the ecologically valid assessment in a linguistically, cognitively, and culturally diverse primary AIinLT classroom. So in this classroom, we have kids from different linguistic backgrounds. For example, we have Mandarin speaking, Cantonese speaking, or even Hindi students. And so we designed and adapted this loop pedagogy based on the dynamic assessment, trans-languaging, trans-semiotizing, and thematic development strategies. And we also adopted this qualitative case study with videotaped lessons, interviews, and student work documentation. And now I'm going to introduce the loop pedagogy in great details. So basically, we have three phases. The first phase was the written production. So all of the students, the 16 primary school kids, they had the option of choosing either drawing comic strips or they can just write. And based on our statistics, more than 80% of the students, they opted for drawing comic strips just because they can showcase their creativity and language skills. This is a demo, an example from one of the students. As you can see here, the topic is bullying. And so we can analyze this comic strip. Mom, I'm back from school. Let me check the school chat. Oh my God, they're talking bad about me. I should ask my dad and mom. And so the victim and the bullied, finally, they became friends. I'm sad, let's be friends. So this is an example of one of the students drawing his comic strip. He focused on meaning making rather than, just rigid formality or correctness. And the second phase was the oral presentation. The students were dividing into 5 groups, and with each group has 4 to 5 students. And so each of their individual presentation was recorded and transcribed using Zoom. And so the group participation, we use it as a living communicative occasion. The students can also co-orchestrate or collaborate with their peers. And we also scaffolded them from meaning to form not just grammar focused or not just lexicogrammatical patterns or prescribed formulas. And so coming down to the last phase, phase 3, this is an example of the students speaking transcript. We took advantage of Zoom. So the Zoom transcribed the presentation for us. We provided 3-tiered feedback from vocabulary to meaning to lexicogrammar and organization, cohesion, and text management. I highlighted some of the examples of the so-called grammatical errors in the student's presentation. For example, he said, laughed,
the tenses. And so the feedback we gave was also very multimodal. We have the emojis, some encouragement to the students. We commented on the content rather than just lexical grammatical structures. For example, we commented on the Uno reverse, which is in the students' presentation. We can see the student is very creative in combining his visual, the comic strip, with the language. And so coming down to scaffolding principles in the loop pedagogy. So what's so special about this loop pedagogy is that it's very ecological. So basically, we as the evaluator, we asked the students several questions, the probing questions when students were struggling with their tests, their speech. For example, what do you want to say next? How do you want to say them? These are ways of co-creating linguistic meanings with the students, other than creating the hierarchical, authoritative role of being a teacher. And so we asked open-ended questions that assisted our students to find solutions. We incorporated the co-participation or co-orchestration rather than just correction. So this is the core of the theoretical frame of AIinLT, ecological languaging competencies. We support joint action and common ground for establishment and enables platform building across diverse linguistic and cultural background. And also we emphasize the ongoing activities rather than rule application. And here is, we also used AI partnership in this loop pedagogy. So basically, we collaborated with a startup local AI company. They came up with a platform called Moody AI. So the students could record themselves and seek feedback from this AI-assisted machine. And so these are our 3 questions. Can AI capture the ecological languaging competencies? And how does AI assessment align with the AIinLT principles? And what are the limitations? Here I want to show a demo of, okay, so this is the data collection point. We used the video from second phase of the students talking about their comic strip into the Moody AI. And so the students presented on their bullying topic, friendship fire, and mean on purpose behavior. The age group was maybe 10 to 12 years old. And so we use this Moody AI for assessment. We use multimodal analysis. This is worth mentioning. This is the paralinguistic cues. As you can see, we have voice, faces, bodies, and content. The AI could also provide automated scoring across multiple dimensions, not just on the written form or the speech of the language. And this is a demo of the AI tool, the Moody AI. As you can see here, it provides feedback on eye contact, positive emotions, negative emotions, filler words, and a lot of dimensions in a speech rather than just on lexical grammatical forms. And it also observed some of the confidence, fluency, credibility, energy dimensions or parameters of the students, or body, voice, and content and faces. It's also worth mentioning that the Moody AI itself is quite multimodal. We have different visuals, graphs, colors, rather than just black and white, common the corrective feedback. And so I personally am really into this Moody AI because I think it helps me with my oral English. It provides, as I mentioned earlier, the visualization of its feedback with the transcript generation for record. And it also provides personal speaking time because not all the learners, they're comfortable with speaking to a human evaluator. They might feel, embarrassed, nervous, and etc. And this Moody AI is able to provide real-time feedback and comments on paralinguistic cues.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And although, so far you may think that, okay, so we have successfully applied like AI in this assessment, but what I want to share more is in fact our thinking and our discussion over this process as well. Just now, as you can see, While traditionally, if we are going to make an assessment, give an assessment of the student performance, so we're of course going to focus on, okay, so the grammatical correctness and things. But however, focusing only on this would miss a lot of things. So our original goal is to say whether AI would be able to give an assessment of the ecological languaging competencies. So, you know, the students can still have these mistakes, but the story that the student want to share can be very effectively told. And we want to use AI to see if AI can do that or not. And after that, okay, so we'll get reports like this from AI, but we have some thought on this as well. First, sorry, okay. But we are going to share some some of our thought on this as well. First, the AI assessment would actually, we would say it's quite a reductive quantification. So like, for example, for eye contact, the AI will look at the percentage of the time that the student has been looking at the camera, have been looking into the camera. And also it will count how many times and how often gesture has been used in the student's presentation, rather than how these gestures were built naturally into the mini-making process. And also for postures as well, you will see there are positive and negative postures and creating this binary without considering the specific use of these postures in the student's languaging process, which is the storytelling process. So we would say that this process of just reducing eye contact, gestures, postures, and counting their number, percentage, and duration would be pretty reductive in terms of our ELC perspective, which is called what we say missing the dynamics. So we say languaging is a skilled activity integrating multiple modalities organically. And the eye gaze is function as a joint attention mechanism. So it's not, in fact, a performance metrics. So like we can look into the camera to show that we have attention in here, right? And also the embodied action are intrinsic functional constraints on meaning making. So this is our first observation of the AI's job of doing assessment. And the second one is that we see that AI seems not being able to, so far, comprehend the functional integration of gestures with speech, which includes like misses the static functions of pointing and eye gazes and the coordination of things, and also ignores the core articulation of phonetic and kinetic gestures, as we discussed just now. So the utterances are, so the ELC requirement would require the AI to be able to assess whether it's a coordinated languaging, the student's coordinated languaging performance, including utterances shaped by the bodily, social, and cultural dynamics. So all this needs to bring in. And also what I mentioned, I don't like this term. I think it's very abstract. Vicariance, gesture, and speeches are interchangeable for action and specifications. Some of the purposes, some of the stories, even though it's not told by words, if you look at the student's video, you will be able to get it. But it's not captured by AI. The AI would count it as missing something, but actually it is not. So, and also about the common intentional fields established through the coordinated embodiment, that's not usually captured by the AI that we have been using in our project. So based on this thinking, based on this analysis, we think that in the future, we're now still working with the engineers of this AI company. And we wanted to say that future AI models should be able to capture the core temporal overlapping of speaker and listener, and also the vicariance recognition, understanding the intelligibility of the perceptual and action systems and things. But of course, we know that there's a lot of technical requirements like this to go back to the ELC perspective. So that the design of the AI would based on like a deeper, renewed ontological understanding of language itself. So it's not through just observing how many times, the duration of whether certain functions have been performed by the student, but look into the orchestrated meaning-making process of the student is what we what we are planning and collaborating with the AI company and trying to do that as well. In terms of assessment, I have to also say, if we are now using human labor to do ecological language and competencies assessment based on ELC, then you would consume teachers a lot of time by watching like the video and doing things. So we really hope that the AI would be able to help with this. So in the future, our immediate priorities is to continue to develop coordinated sensitive AI algorithms and create like ELC assessment rubrics maybe for AI training, and also design the ecological scenario databases for machine learning to be able to, for the AI to be able to capture the ecological language and competencies demonstrated by the students. And besides this, I also recently, I want to also share another project that we have been working on, which is we noticed that the current AI models, in fact, has a lot of environmental issues embedded in it, because whenever we ask AI questions, this data center would that is being run in the AI models would consumes a lot of energy and resources. So actually, in my class, I want to really share this. I was trying to use an open source, lightweight LLM models, very light. So it's light enough that it's able to run on my own computer. So in that case, I don't want this model to serve complicated purposes. It can just be my teaching assistant for this course. So it can be very lightweighted. It is, of course, definitely not as powerful as all the other big AI models, but it's going to be very useful for my class. The students can give a quick questions, what is the venue for today's class, or what is the assignments due dates, and like that. So this is the other directions that we are working on. So in the long term, we feel that the AI could enhance the ecological niche for language learning. That's our hope. And also the distributed assessment network connecting classroom globally. That's also a direction that we are trying to explore as well. And the real-time EOC coaching. Okay, this is another project that our team has been doing with our team members, not for me, is that we're trying to also embedding this ELC perspective into a language training coach, that would give a real-time but more constructive and ecologically valid feedbacks to the students, so you can become students' personalized coach at home, which doesn't consume a lot of the energies as well. So there's pretty excited. There's so many things that is going on as well. So here, this is our research member. So we have a whole team in here. And also we are looking for collaborators as well. I mean, like school that would welcome us to conduct these projects and work together with us to think about what we can do by applying this perspective in each one of your specific contexts. So I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, very inspiring presentation. So any question? Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well, first of all, I want to say I hope you bring Tracy some coffee sometime as well. Yes. I really enjoyed your presentation. I thought it was super interesting, and it just gave me so much to think about. First, in terms of languaging and the kind of ecological embodied aspects of that, and also about AI and also about assessment. And so I really enjoyed that. I think my favorite part of your talk was your critique of the AI and your critique of its reductiveness in assessing the students and applying certain kinds of labels like confidence and credibility to their bodily movements. And I wonder if we could even take that critique a little bit further and ask ourselves, do we really want to have AI regulating the bodily movements of primary school students, particularly primary school students, classes where you'll have neurodivergent children, you'll have physically divergent children, and as you said, culturally divergent children who are going to have all sorts of ways of moving their bodies and expressing themselves. And so maybe that even goes to the point where maybe this whole idea of ecological language and competencies, which I really believe in and I'm really on board with, but maybe they're just a little bit too complicated and diverse to assess. You know, do we really want to be assessing how, I mean, I'm all for getting it to assess Tracy in her public speaking. Yeah, because Tracy is older and she's doing public speaking, and that's really appropriate for her. But I think, you know, for like first, second graders, third graders, to be telling them how they should move and telling them how they should act and look, rather than celebrating them and supporting them no matter how they look and no matter how they act and even no matter how they talk, right? I think would be a much more important thing. But you know, I have enough faith in your team that I know that you wouldn't take that approach. You wouldn't be doing that. But I would be afraid if this kind of technology or this kind of idea gets into the hands of maybe less sensitive educators, then maybe it might not be so good. Do you have any ideas about that?
Okay, thank you very much. That's very insightful comments, and I really echo what you have just shared just now. And as part of the research team, I myself also see issues like this. Okay, so two things I want to say. First, this assessment result, we never shared it to the students. Yes, we never shared that AI assessment result to the students. As long as we feed the video to the AI model, we get these results, then we sense, we shouldn't be sharing this to the students anyway. So first, it's for our internal research to see whether the AI model would be able to capture the ecological languaging competency. This is the first thing. And the second thing is, I want to also share my worry or even a little bit of critique of our own research, which I don't have an answer yet, is that we have all this beautiful theories, complex ideas that we are trying to apply. And I do believe in these things. I really do believe in these things. I believe in the power of this perspective that can potentially change the otherwise very discrete, standardized language tests and telling students to do this and that. But I'm also worried that however this beautiful theory or complex or insightful theory could be, how it will end up in the actual teaching is really another story. And this is also the struggle and the challenge that our team has been grappling with. Because we sometimes, when we reflect, we will see, okay, so we have ecological languaging competency and we want to assess that. And that eventually becomes given, for example, teacher more work to do. Or as you just mentioned, just requiring students to speak or behave or present in certain ways that is prescribed to them. So it becomes a very normalizing process. So I really validate your concern, but I think this is the challenging part, and this is also the exciting part as well. We can really think about what we can do in the school to work the fine balance. So that is why now we are taking like a two-tiered approach. So there are definitely summative assessments that is being carried out in school. So we are in here we are trying to using the Bayesian framework for like updating the more summative assessments. But for more formative assessment, we think even we bring in ELC perspective, we bring teachers' judgment, teachers' pedagogical knowledge up front during the assessment process as well. So even though, okay, according to our ELC perspective, okay, this student doesn't really perform very well in their presentation, so we will not just go there and tell, okay, you should do it this way. A teacher's pedagogical knowledge in this process is also very important. The teacher can make very good judgments of what kind of feedback would be really helpful for the students rather than inhibiting their ability to express or willingness to express. So I think your points really very well taken, and thank you very much for reminding us that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so maybe we don't have the time for another question, but if you are interested in this topic, you can connect with the team after. Okay, so thank you for sharing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so next we will invite Miss Ni Yue from HKBU to give us a speech on the adopting Gen AI supported portfolio assessment to promote the self-regulated learning, a focus on student feedback literacy. Let's welcome her.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ni Yue from the Department of Education and Psychology at Hong Kong Baptist University. So today I'll be sharing our research on generative AI supported portfolio assessment. How can it promote the self-regulated learning with a special lens on student feedback literacy? So I'll walk you through those key aspects. So first, let me briefly introduce why our research matters. First, we are saturated in this GenAI era where it is transforming language education, but we still have to further understand how it is influencing the learning process. And also, I would like to emphasize the concept, the approach of portfolio assessment and e-portfolio because it is emerged as an effective multimodal and feedback-rich learning that can trigger students' learning agency. And also, I didn't find a lot of research focusing on connecting generative AI tools, student feedback literacy, and self-regulated learning in formative assessment contests in EFL classrooms. So this is where our research fell in. Now, please allow me to briefly introduce our theoretical underpinnings. First, about e-portfolios and portfolio assessment, which but the word portfolio has been can be searched in literature for a very long time, but e-portfolio, especially GenAI portfolio, still worth exploring. So e-portfolios are digital dossiers that can document students' learning with multimodal artifacts. It records students' creation, curation, and reflection along their language learning journey. And in second language writing classrooms specifically, it serves as user-friendly companion that can promote their writing development, activate their agency, and also through reflection and multimedia and multi-source feedback. It is also encompassed dual functions, both pedagogical and formative assessment values, which can also spur the self-regulated learning of students. So speaking of self-regulated learning, which is a very key theoretical underpinnings of our study, well, we start with Vygotsky's theory in social constructivism. We believe that students' learning stems from social interactions, then gradually become internalized, which means that how learners gradually take what they learn from social interactions and make it part of their own toolkit. And self-regulated learners are usually excelled in setting learning goals. They actively monitor and regulate and control their learning behaviors. And in our research, we adopted the further expansion of this theory developed by Hedwig and Oshage, who formulated three coexisting modes of regulation, which are self-regulation, co-regulation, and socially shared regulation. So let me further explain that. Self-regulation, well, as its name indicates, quite straightforward. It's individuals' deliberate and strategic metacognitive behaviors, while co-regulation usually involves the other, a more capable other, be it another student, the teacher, and in our case, GenAI tools. And socially shared regulations is the process by which multiple others regulate their learning, for example, in a collaborative learning environment, in group learning. So in our research, students' feedback literacy is also an important concept which encompasses 4 aspects: appreciating feedback, making judgments, managing affect, and taking actions. And I would like to further emphasize another key concept here is the dialogic feedback proposed by Carlos. It's a process of mutual meaning making between students and feedback provider, which can stimulate more like learner engagement in this feedback provision and uptake. So we believe that students' literacy, feedback literacy, play a very fundamental role in fostering self-regulated learning in this portfolio assessment, because it's a feedback-rich environment where students are encountered with multi-source feedback, and it enables learners to interpret, evaluate, and act on this feedback in ways that support their metacognitive development. So that comes to the questions that we want to answer in this research. We want to know how the process of GenAI supported ePortfolio compilation influenced EFL learners' development of self-regulated learning, and how does students' feedback literacy play in this development. So in order to answer these 2 questions, we adopted a qualitative research over a 16-week semester from 2024, at the very beginning of 2024. So we have 50 first-year students who have very limited experience with AI, because they are all just graduated from high school, and they don't know much about those advanced technology and how to start with AI. And they were organized into 11 groups, and each groups were asked to set up a WordPress-based ePortfolio platform, where they individually wrote an expository essay describing tourist sites, and then an argumentative essay offering recommendations. Throughout this process, they are accompanied by peer, teacher, and AI feedback. At last, students were encouraged to combine these individual sites into a coercive touring route and present it in front of the whole class. The reason why we use this dual portfolio format is that we want to reinforce the cooperation between peers within groups to see how co-regulation and socially shared regulations can promote their self-regulated learning. So let me briefly talk about the process of our project. So students are engaged in these 4 cyclical process, where they create their artifacts, then curate these artifacts, and then they reflect upon those things, and finally revise the artifacts based on multi-source feedback. So throughout this process, they are accompanied by self and peer assessment all the time, where peer and teacher feedback particularly enhance the reflection and revision part. And in this process, AI specifically serve as direct AI feedback provider in creation and curation, because of its immediacy and instant characteristic, while in the reflection and revision part, AI assist the feedback practices, and we'll discuss it in the finding part. So we collected totally 100 students writing samples in Word file with editing trails with the track changes modes on, so that we can track where they have made the revision, the feedback provision and uptake. And also we have 4 focus group interviews and 6 narrative inquiries, because the dialogic feedback between peers is not, we are not able to record that. So we use focus group and narrative inquiry to amplify that void. And also we collect 11 WordPress website and 11 PowerPoint slides as supplementary materials to see their revision of those multimodal artifacts based on different feedback. So I would like to briefly share some of the screenshot of our students' fantastic work. These are, sorry for the very small word. As you can see that there are different colors, which means that each color represents one feedback provider using the track change mode on the Word documents. And we can track how students provide, well, here is qualitative feedback and how students react to the feedback. And here are the WordPress website that our students have established, very colorful, very brilliant. And one of the presentation slides our students have made about a trip to Beijing. So with these data at hand, we have our writing samples, focus group interview, narrative inquiries, and those portfolio artifacts. We basically use semantic analysis to analyze the quality, the narrative inquiries and interviews, and content analysis for writing samples. And we use multimodal analysis to analyze the supplementary multimodal artifacts. So here comes our findings on the developmental trajectories of students' self-regulated learning, and we divide it into 3 stages. The first stage is their initial encounters with multi-source feedback, and we observe the first they have like technical confusions because as freshmen from in college who have just graduated from high school and finished the college entrance examination, they don't have any clue of how to start using AI. And at that time, there are a lot of AI tools and they don't know how to start. And also, some of the students have those entrenched habits. For example, they are used to using traditional searching engines like Baidu, and they don't know how to start, what to ask. Also, we found out the very initial uncritical acceptance of students with regard to AI feedback. For example, students constantly mention that at first, I just take whatever AI told me to do. I see AI suggestion, I see AI feedback as authoritative as those from teachers. And also, information overload gradually emerged because when prompting strategy are not sophisticated enough, you can see that AI will give you very long response. So students will find it very challenging to extract useful information from the very long AI response. I would show you an example of students writing. It's the left side are students writing in the Word file, and the right one are the AI response she provided me. So we can see that. Let me just show you an example. For example, she changed the original word reckon to firmly believe, as is suggested by AI, because AI believe that reckon is quite informal, which is true, and firmly believe is more formal. But I guess in this situation, reckon is also not bad. And also for the second paragraph, AI suggests that to delete in order, just maintain the 2. And I think that's quite not necessary. So these uncritical acceptance of AI feedback was later gradually resolved, but not all, by an AI workshop the teacher is doing. Yes, because teachers sensing that it's urgent need that we should provide scaffolded AI integration. We should provide instructions for students' AI use. So gradually, we found out that students had developed certain co-regulation supported by AI. For example, students have realized the importance of peer feedback. For example, they say that instead of working on myself, peer give me a sense of security, and they started to reflect on their own learning, and they know how to give feedback that can be more acceptable to others. For example, to compliment first, and then to provide offering feedback for improvements. And I want to emphasize the role AI played in this part is that in this whole project, although it's just shown in some of the students, but they've used AI as a negotiation tools, which means that when they have disagreement among peers, they use AI as like judges or moderators to decide which one is more acceptable. And as our experience told us that AI is quite good at doing this because it will complement both sides and then give a very mild suggestion or preference. Also, AI here is act as a teaching assistant. because we also have teacher feedback here, some of the students are quite shy. So they will use AI as an interpreter for teacher feedback and also to inform themselves what to do next for the revision. So another example here is, well, the top left is the peer feedback. We can see that it's basically focused on word, grammar, and structure. However, the bottom one is the teacher feedback, specifically on the phrase called red spirit. So red spirit is a very direct translation of a Chinese phrase. So the teacher feedback acts as, will tourists from other countries understand what is red spirit? So with that on, we can say that in the final output, students have changed red spirit to revolutionary spirit. And in the focus group interview, he mentioned that he also used AI for help. He actually don't know how to translate red spirit into a phrase that can be understood with a wider context. So in the next step, we see a developed self-regulated feedback practice among students. For example, they've gradually developed critical stance towards AI. They know that AI can make mistake. AI sometimes can provide very responses that cannot be used directly. So some students mentioned that AI usually transform their basic sentence structures to very intricate clause, which cannot be used or learned directly. So they prefer maintaining their original writing style. And also, we've found out the strategic use of AI in students' feedback practices. For example, they learn to tell AI their language level, because, for example, they tell AI that I have a CET4 score of like 480. So according to my language proficiency, please provide me with the feedback or the revision suggestions that fit my language proficiency. And also, some of the students modify their questions again and again until they get satisfying response. And one of the most exciting discovery is that some of the students have developed those systematic reflective reflections. For example, some students think about their future careers. They mentioned that a lot of the companies require them to have high English language proficiency or some specific professional skills like video editing skills. So they believe that this project is a very good start. And some of the students constantly reflect on their own learning and identify their weaker areas and ask classmates and teachers for help. For example, one student say they want to work in social media, in WeMedia in the future. So he's planning to do this, and informed by AI or the social media influencers, he has very detailed plan for the career path in front of him. So now I would like to talk about how feedback literacy development with portfolio compilation. So we know that the 4 aspects. The first one, appreciating feedback. We have seen that in our project, students have demonstrated very positive attitude towards feedback. They appreciate feedback from peers and teachers because they are gradeless. They are not very tough comments, but some kind of questions or very mild suggestions. So as one student says that the track change mode provide a very less stressful way and triggers their curiosity. And they also appreciate the non-judgmental AI feedback because we all have this kind of experience. AI provide feedback in a very gentle way. And they even ask you about your feedback on its feedback. So they can feel being respected. And this is what we want to emphasize, the dialogical feedback that can greatly engage learners. And the second aspect is making judgment. In this whole portfolio compilation process, students are engaged in feedback-rich environment where they can juxtapose multi-source feedback. For example, they can compare peer feedback, teacher feedback, and also AI feedback for one same sentence or one same paragraphs and make decisions. For example, some students say that I'd pick feedback that makes sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense to me or I have some disagreement, I would either ignore it or talk to the peers or even ask for AI for help. And and the next one is managing affect. We can see that besides the very positive emotions that has been felt by our students, there are overwhelming feelings. For example, one student even said, if AI can do it all, why bother learning English myself? So it's quite true for a lot of students. But after the group collaboration and also after those multimodal tasks that we've been doing in this process, I guess his overwhelming feelings has been alleviated a bit. And we know that all these 3 steps lead to the last one, is taking steps. So we can see a lot of examples of students' feedback uptake and integrate multi-source feedback into their meaning making. Because of the time, I will quickly give you some examples. For example, here in the left side, we can see it's the word file of students. He mentioned specifically a helmet-like stalactite, and the peer feedback goes like adding images that align with the description, because he's mentioning the helmet-like thing, but she didn't even put a picture on this. So in the final output of WordPress, he add a helmet-like stalactite here in the website. And also for the presentation, the very first draft of presentation on the left side, and the peer feedback goes like the color is too rigid and serious. And then he resort to AI for the help of color scheme, and AI gave her a lot of terminologies, and she remembered that like faded azure, mystic seagrass, hazy lavenders, very romantic words that likely to be generated by AI. So she adopted and revised the PowerPoint to the final version, where the colors, where the pictures match with the meaning, and it's very harmonious. And another example I want to share is students' direct interaction with AI. It's a student who is describing a waterfall in China, and she don't know how to use the color scheme. So he asked AI, and AI told him a small technique, which is to use shades from the same color family of the main pictures. So we can see that the main pictures has like basically green, blue sky or something. So she applied blue, green, and yellow as the color of the text. So in our research, there are certain pedagogical implications. So we want to say that generative AI-supported portfolio assessment is a transformative pedagogy for students' self-regulated learning development and feedback literacy development, because it provides a feedback-rich environment and also a lot of possibilities for dialogic feedback that engage students. But we have to be very cautious with the use of AI in the whole process, because we need very scaffolded integration of AI in supporting students' learning, how to manage, how to make the best of the AI capability while minimizing its potential erosion to the students' cognitive skills. And also, we want to encourage and promote a low-stakes assessment culture that emphasize learning progress instead of just a product, and encourage students experiment with technologies and in a collaborative learning environment. So that's all for my presentation. Here's the reference. Thank you so much. Now I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you so much. So any question? Yeah. Wait for me, I'm coming.
First of all, thank you for such a interesting and comprehensively done talk. I've got two clarification seeking questions. The first one is about the notion called dialogic. Okay, so I sort of know it's from social cultural theory, right? So I want to double check my understanding. When you say dialogic, does that mean the teacher have to orally in a way to give the feedback to the student, have some sort of like a meetup session? So this is my first question. My second question is, I noticed that on the face of it, most of the comments and feedback, like the teacher's corrections or the feedback written on the essay, it's on the written tasks themselves, okay? But you also mentioned there is like a speaking presentation part at the end of the task. Is it because you want to make the task multimodal? That's why you're combining speaking and writing at the same time, or if that's not the case, then what is the role of the speaking task being played at the end of the in your study here? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your question. So for the first one, dialogical feedback, it's different like one-way feedback where teachers, whether orally or verbally, give to students. It involves like conversation, dialogues between two people well, in our case, it's for clarification or can stir the ideas or to even force the students thinking about yes, relevant concept. And the second one, yes, it's part of a larger project. So in this study, we focus on student feedback literacy, but in a larger project, yes, we focus on the all this multimodal literacy, and we want to make it because it's a college English class and we have to practice all sort of language skills. So presentation, well, first, it's a way to practice students' public speaking skills. And also, it's a way to facilitate their socially shared regulation, which means that they can work in a group and emerge in a more dynamic feedback environment. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other question? Do we have any other question? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ni. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your research with us. Thank you. And so this is the end of our session. And as the doctoral student of PolyU, I want to say sincerely thank you for your coming, and wish you have a very good time in PolyU. And we also have a closing keynote in Z209. So if you are interested, you can move to that room. The keynote speech will begin at 5:15. So wish you have a good day. See you next time. Bye-bye.